If you're not already doing so, please come to lie on your back. And take a moment to just notice your contact with the floor. Just noticing anything that calls out to you for attention. And then please bring your attention to your left heel. Just sensing the contact of that bony part of your foot with the floor. The point of contact and sensing which way your foot is pointing. And then bringing your attention to your left ankle and the curve behind your left ankle. And your left calf, sensing the weight of that calf muscle against the floor, and sense it. What is the sensation, the feeling, the touch of your left calf against the floor? And then bringing your attention to your left knee and the crease behind your left knee. And your left thigh, the part of your thigh that may be touching the floor and the part that might be away from the floor. And bringing your attention to your left hip, your left buttock, that sort of back of your hip as it contacts the floor. What's the sensation of touch against the floor? Sensation of weight. And then have a sense of your whole left leg from your left hip down to your left foot. Then please bring your attention to your right heel. Again, that bony structure in the foot as it touches the hard surface of the floor. Where's that point of contact? And then sensing the direction that your foot points. And then noticing your right ankle, the curve behind your ankle. Your right calf. And again, the sensation of the calf muscle as it lies against the floor, that sense of touch, the sense of pressure, whatever you notice. And your right knee, the crease behind your right knee. And your right thigh, again, the part that might touch, the part that might be away. And then sensing your right hip, your right buttock, is the back of the right hip. Just how does that right side feel? The contact of that buttock muscle, that big, powerful muscle with the floor. Your sense of the weight of the hip. And then sensing your whole right leg. From your hip to your foot. And then please bring your attention to your pelvis, the right side, your right hip, your left hip, your sacrum there in the middle. And just sensing the weight of that heavy bony structure. Do both sides feel as though they weigh about the same? Or does one side have a sensation of being heavier or lighter than the other? And then bringing your attention to your lower back and the curve in your lower back, that whole waist area. Just sensing the shape and size of that curve today. And then bringing your attention to your ribs as they touch the floor above that lower back curve. And just sense the width of your ribs there. And sense the right side, the left side. Do they have a similar sensation as they lie against the floor? Or does one side feel a little more weighted into the floor? And bringing your attention to your shoulder girdle, that whole area, your right shoulder blade, your left shoulder blade, and the part of your spine that lies between the shoulder blades. Just sense how that part of you feels against the floor today. And then sensing your shoulders, your upper arms down to your elbows, forearms down to your wrists, your hands and your fingers. Just sense the length of your arms, their weight, the distance of your arms from your sides, and how your palms lie. And then please bring your attention to your neck and the curve in the back of your neck, just noticing the shape and the size of that curve today. And then bringing your attention to the right side of your neck, from your right earlobe down to your right collarbone. And the left side of your neck, from your left ear down to your left collarbone, just sensing the length of those two sides. Just noticing any sensations you might have on the sides of your neck. And then bringing your attention to your throat, to the front of your neck. Just having a sense of that whole structure of the neck. And then bringing your attention to your head and the contact of your skull with the floor. Again, this bony surface of your skull, contacting the hard surface of the floor you're lying on. And just sense that point of contact. Maybe just easily roll your head a little from side to side, just a small amount, and just sense the change in the point of contact with the floor. And maybe you sense something happening in your neck, with the muscles of your neck, internally with your neck. And then please draw your attention to your tongue, your lower jaw, your face. Just register those sensations at the beginning of the lesson. And before we begin, please draw your attention to your breathing and the movement of your breathing. As the air comes in, that slight expansion, and as the air moves out, that slight relaxation or release. Just where in yourself can you detect that today? What part of yourself is this sort of automatic movement happening that's 99.9% of the time under the radar for us? Now, please, when you're ready, bend your feet, bend your knees and stand your feet. And bring your right hand up to rest on your forehead. So your fingers are pointing to the left and your palm is kind of flat against your forehead. And just with a small movement, use your hand to roll your head a little bit to the left and back to center. Start small with this. And just as you roll your head and let it come back, again, where you're using your arm, your hand to roll your head, where else do you feel the result of that movement? For instance, your neck. Maybe you sense something in your shoulder. What draws your attention when you do this movement? Just a small movement. And just notice what you do with your eyes. Do they follow? Do they stay toward the ceiling? Do they look opposite? What is that for you? Then go ahead and let your eyes go in the same direction. So as you roll your head a little to the left, let your eyes drift over there to the left. And just see what that adds, if anything, to this movement. Of course, resting anytime you need to rest. Maybe your arm gets heavy up there. And just rest and come back to it, right? Now, as you continue this movement and your eyes looking left, keep looking left and just notice, are you looking sort of in the direction of the horizon? Try that. Just sort of straight left. And then a couple of times, let your eyes look up and left. Just let yourself register the sensation of that. What does that feel like in your eyes, in your neck? And where else do you sense any effect of that? What's the effort of looking left and up? Good. And then a couple of times, look as you look left and down. And just, again, these subtle differentiations are really a big interest of Dr. Feldenkrais. He believed that the brain, the nervous system really benefited from exploring these unusual differences. What's different about looking left and down? And then just let yourself look left on the horizon, just sort of straight left. Great. And please let that go and rest. Let your legs be long. And just appreciate the after effects of those movements. Just sensing your contact with the floor. Sensing your neck, your face, your shoulder, your arm on the right side, and your shoulder, your neck, your face on the left side. Sensing the contact of your right shoulder, your right ribs, and your left shoulder and your left ribs. Great. And when you're ready, please bend your knees and stand your feet again. And this time, bring your left hand up to your forehead. Again, your fingers are pointing over to the right. And just begin that easy movement of using your hand to roll your head a little to the right. And again, start small, go slow. Just explore what this direction is like. Maybe your head likes to turn this direction. Maybe it preferred going to the left. So just appreciate the difference and respect it. So if this is a less easy side, just stay small, right? And then add your eyes looking to the right. Again, you can use that sort of looking at the horizon kind of gaze. Just register what happens in your neck, your shoulders, your face and your jaw, right? Good. And then a few times, look to the right and look up. And just feel what that different use of the eyes brings, what it implies for the rest of the coordination of that movement, what muscles get used, what things get called on. Just slowly. And then, of course, look down to the left and just feel what different coordination that is. What's the different sensation? Notice your breathing. Very nice. And please let that go and rest. Just again, sensing the after effects of these movements. Noticing your breathing. Sensing your neck, your shoulders, your face. And when you're ready, please bend your knees and stand your feet again. And your arms can just be at rest in a comfortable place. And this time, just let your mouth open. Let your lower jaw just release, let those chewing muscles release, and just let your jaw open in a relaxed way. And just do that a few times. Notice what happens in your neck and your head as you do that. Is there movement there? For some people, yes. For some people, maybe not. Depends on how you're opening your jaw. Good. Now pause that for a moment and bring your hands up to your finger pads are resting on your forehead. And so your elbows are in the air, and just very easily just sort of move the skin of your forehead up toward the top of your head. Just very easily, as though you had gone to the spa and you're getting a beautiful treatment of someone moving the skin on your forehead. Just feel what that implies. It's kind of implying you're going to raise your head up. And then as you keep doing that, just feel as though you're letting your mouth open, you're letting your jaw release, so you're almost opening your top jaw and your skull away from your lower jaw. It's another way of thinking about opening the mouth. So you're just letting your jaw open passively by taking your head away from the lower jaw. Just in that very, very easy way. Good. Very, very nice. And please let that go and rest a moment. Sensing the after effects in your jaw, your neck, your throat, your tongue, your face, wherever you sense any after effects. And then when you're ready, please bend your knees and stand your feet again. And this time, I'm going to just easily open your mouth as you look up with your eyes. And then you come back to neutral and just explore that coordination. It's a kind of gesture, I think, that many of us may have done when you're, maybe as a kid, as you're looking up and seeing something amazing in the sky. Oh my goodness, that kind of gesture. Letting your jaw muscles, those chewing muscles, be very relaxed, and you open your jaw and look up. And just sense what's involved in that. What does that coordination feel like? As you let your breathing be very easy, sense what's happening with your tongue, letting that be easy, but be relaxed. Good. Now pause that for a moment. And then as you open your mouth, let your eyes look down. And just explore that coordination. What does that feel like? What happens in your neck, Can you sense that almost a conflicting sensation? It's a right. And then a couple of times go back to letting your mouth open and looking up with your eyes. Just feel the contrast between those two coordinations and how your eyes can really affect what happens with your jaw, with your neck. And then let that go, and please rest. Again, just letting yourself absorb the after effects, any sensations, any reverberations you might have from having done those movements. Sensing your breathing. And sensing the motion of the breath as it comes through your nostrils, down your throat, into your chest. The diaphragm descends down toward your feet and it just draws the air in. We don't have to be effortful in letting the air come in. And then it just goes out when the diaphragm releases, relaxes. Great. Now, when you're ready, once again, please bend your knees and stand your feet. And this time, we're going to use the tongue. So let your mouth be easily open, just a little bit, just relax, so you're not holding your jaw shut. And now use your tongue, the tip of your tongue, the side of your tongue, and press it into your right cheek. Good. Great. And pause that for a moment. And now bring your left hand up and just maybe put your index finger or your thumb on your chin. Let your mouth be a little open and just move your jaw a little to the right, the lower jaw. This is where you may feel movement in those hinges, those TMJ hinges. Going sideways is not a usual direction when we chew or talk. So you're taking your jaw a little to the right, and just, what does that feel like? Right? Good. Great. And now combine those two movements of taking your jaw, that slightly open jaw, a little to the right, as you take your tongue into the right cheek. So you're using that, again, another very powerful, we think of the tongue as one muscle, but it's a group of muscles. But they're, again, this very powerful survival function makes them very powerful. Using your tongue to take your jaw to the right. What does that feel like, that sort of combination of that configuration of muscles? And as you do that, just notice what happens with your eyes. Are you doing something conscious with them? Are they following along? Are they resting? Whatever they're doing, just notice what that is. Great. And please let that go and rest for a moment. Let your legs be long. Again, just letting yourself register, letting your nervous system, your brain register the after effects of these movements that most likely we're not doing during the normal course of our lives, right? What are the sensations in your face, your jaw, your tongue, your throat, your neck, your shoulders? your sensation of the breath. And then please bend your knees and stand your feet. And bring your left hand up to your forehead again. So the palm of your hand is on your forehead, fingers pointing right. And now, with your jaw slightly open in that easy way, going to use your hand to roll your head to the right as you take your jaw to the right. So you're combining those two movements that you've done separately. Rolling the head and letting your jaw go to the right. Again, if you'd like to monitor your jaw with your hand, just do that very gently. You don't want to push anything, but you're just, the sideways movements of the jaw are sometimes hard to feel. Good. That's great. And please let that go and rest a moment. Again, just letting, I feel like this, the phrase that comes to my mind is this, like a tasting menu. It's sort of like exploring these very, very interesting movements in this area. The sensation in the right side of your face, your jaw on the right, maybe your right ear, right side of your neck, the throat. And compare that with the left side of your face, your left ear, your left side of your neck and throat. And then your shoulder girdle. What's that like, the contact there? Good. And when you're ready, please bend your knees and stand your feet again. And let's do those movements to the left. So just very easily, let your jaw be easily open. And again, you can monitor this with your index finger or your thumb and just monitor the movement of your jaw to the left. How does that movement feel? Does it feel the same as when you took your jaw to the right? Or do you have a bias in one direction or the other? Great. Now pause that for a moment, just letting yourself, again, drink in any kind of after effects of the movement. And then go ahead and use your tongue to press into the left side of your cheek, the left cheek. And again, your jaw is a little bit open, easily open. And just feel what it's like to take those tongue muscles to the left. You may feel movement in your throat and the front of your neck because the tongue is attached to the hyoid bone from which your larynx and your whole structure of your windpipe is connected. So it's all those intimate connections in this area. So you're pressing your tongue into the left cheek. What happens in your TMJ joints, those hinges, as you press your tongue? What happens with your eyes? What happens in your neck as you press your tongue into your cheek? Great. And please let that go and rest for a moment. Let your legs be long. sensing any residual sense of movement, any vibrations that are still happening, sensing your contact with the floor. What's your sense of your jaw, those chewing muscles, your tongue, the whole inside of your mouth, your throat, back of your neck. Great. And then please bend your knees and stand your feet again. And this time, bring your right hand up to rest on your forehead. And then letting your jaw be very easily open, combine that movement of pressing your tongue into your left cheek as you roll your head to the left. And coming back to neutral, just explore that variation in this movement. How does your head roll to the left in this way? What else, what other sensations can you detect as you do this? How far into yourself, how much of yourself is involved actively in participating? How far down into your neck, into your torso, maybe, do these sensations reach? Letting your breathing be very easy. Very, very nice. Please let that go and rest. Again, just letting your whole self absorb the sensations, the after effects. What draws your attention? Again, bringing your attention to your breathing. Be sensing the air being drawn in passively. That expansion that takes place wherever it is for you. And then the release is the air, the warm air goes out through your nose, through your mouth, however you breathe. The cool air comes in, the warmed air goes out. Sensing your tongue, the inside of your mouth, jaw. And when you're ready, please bend your knees and stand your feet again. And bring your hands up so your fingers explore your sternum on either side. This is for people who came in after the lesson began. I used our skeleton George to demonstrate. You're going to find your breastbone, your sternum, and place your fingers on either side. And you notice you've got these pairs of ribs, 12 pairs of ribs to be precise, right? And you can feel where the rib attaches to your sternum, and then you can move your fingers and find it where another pair attaches. Just feel that connection. You're going to stay pretty much in your upper chest, right? And now, when you're ready, I'm going to just, using your fingers of your right hand on the right side, the fingers of your left hand, the pads of your fingers, just use your fingers to easily move your ribs and your sternum a little bit to the right. It's a tiny, tiny movement. It's just a kind of nudging your ribs, just hinting that your ribs are going to turn to the right. And then you release, and you just do that a few times. Just feel that hint of a movement. And your ribs are attached to the sternum through cartilage. It's a different kind of tissue, so it's not a hard, bony tissue, but there are a lot of joints. There's a lot of flexibility built into these attachments of the ribs. So just see what's available to be explored there. And you're not forcing anything. You're just asking something to think about moving to the right. Good. Now pause that for a second. And as you do that, pick one pair of ribs. Let your jaw be easily open. As you move your ribs to the right, let your jaw move to the right. And then back to neutral. And you do that with one pair of ribs a few times. And then you move your fingers to a different pair, maybe higher or lower, on either side of your sternum. And as you take your sternum and your ribs a little to the right, you let your jaw go to the right and back to neutral. And just explore that interesting combination of taking your jaw and your ribs to that tiny bit to the right. Another very unusual combination of movements. And once you've got that coordination going, just notice, where else do you feel this movement? What happens in your neck, your shoulders? What's available to be felt? Your jaw, your face, your tongue. Keeping your breathing going, right? Good. Now, let that go and rest for a moment. Just, what do you sense after having done that? What about the right side of your face? Your whole right side, just sense that side you were moving toward. And then sense your left side. And then please bend your knees and stand your feet again. And bring your fingers up. Let's do that same movement now. Just explore moving your ribs a little bit to the left using your sternum. One set of fingers on one side, right hand on the right, left hand on the left, and you're just nudging, hinting to your sternum. And you want to stay pretty much on your upper ribs, not the lower ribs, right? It's closer to your jaw, closer to your throat. And then add, as you do that, taking your easily open jaw to the left. And just noticing the difference between going to this direction from having gone to the right. Or maybe they feel the same. And then again, when you've coordinated it, just send your feeling antennas out and just notice, where else do you feel stuff going on? Back of your neck, your tongue, your throat, your eyes, your shoulders. Great. And please let that go and rest. What do you notice? What calls your attention as you rest? And then please bend your knees and stand your feet. And bring your left hand up to your forehead. And letting your jaw be easy, just a couple of times, roll your head to the right, just see what that's like now. What do you feel? What can you sense? What's free to move now? And then as you continue that rolling of your head to the right, let your knees tilt a little to the right, sort of the same amount you're rolling your head. Just very easily. And you want your feet a nice distance apart. So for balance, just tilt your knees just that little bit to the right as you tilt your head to the right. And you come back to neutral. Explore this combination of the movement of the head, neck, with something lower down. Letting your jaw be very easy, letting your breathing be easy. And then as you continue this movement, let your eyes go along and begin to take your jaw to the right as you tilt your head to the right, as you roll your head, to the right and tilt your knees to the right. So you've got 3 coordinations going to the right: your head, your lower jaw, your knees. And see if you can start them at the same time and end them at the same time. Just being precise in that coordination is really, really useful information for the nervous system. Great. And pause that, just rest for a moment. Again, what draws your attention? What's happening with your jaw, your tongue, your mouth, your neck, throat? And then bend your knees again, and let's do that with the other side. So bring your right hand up to your forehead. Just start by, as you roll your head to the left, do that once or twice, just seeing what that's like now. Then add your knees, tilting that little amount to the left and back, just coordinating those 2. And once you've got that going and your eyes are going along with it, let your easily open jaw also go to the left. So you've got all 3 of those elements heading over to the left and back. And again, you see if you can be precise in those movements. Can they start at the same time? Can they come back at the same time? That element of precision is a way to focus your attention. Good. And let that go and rest. Sensing the contact of your head with the floor, sensing the curve in the back of your neck. Sense your whole neck from the outside, the sides, the front, the back, and have a sensation of the inside of your neck, your head, your mouth, that whole interesting space. Your tongue, your breathing. And then please bend your knees and stand your feet. And now let your jaw be easily open. Just take your jaw a little to the right and then a little to the left, and just alternate that. Just very easy, small movement, slow. And again, just you may feel those jaw hinges, those TMJ hinges, as you take your jaw that little bit to the left and right. And now as you do that movement, start to let your knees tilt in the same direction your jaw is going. Again, a bit of small tilt. And see if you can work on the timing so that the tilting happens in the same time frame, the same dimension. So your chest is kind of passive there, but it's really your jaw, lower jaw, what moves along with that, if anything, and then your knees tilting, what moves in your sort of legs, pelvis area. Now, the next time you are back in neutral, as you start to move your jaw to the right, tilt your knees in the opposite direction. So you're going to, and do that once or twice. And then tilt your jaw the other way, tilt your jaws and your knees in the opposite direction. And then alternate. So you're tilting your knees and your lower jaw in opposite direction. What is that strange combination of movements? What does that strange coordination feel like? Does that help the coordination? Does it just make it different? Does it take a little concentration? Good. And then let your head and your jaw and your knees go in the same direction. As you tilt your knees, you take your jaw in the same direction. And again, just observe what's affected by those movements in your neck, your shoulders, upper back. Great. And let that go, and please rest. Again, sensing the after effects of these movements. And then please bend your knees, stand your feet, and roll to one side and come to sitting. Have your legs crossed or straight, whatever is comfortable. And when you're in sitting, bring your right hand up to your forehead, and have your left hand, like your left thumb and forefinger, on your chin, right? And now keeping your chin in place, just sort of anchoring it easily, roll your head to the left. Just what's that like? Your jaw is very passive. What happens in your neck? It's a small movement. What happens in your ribs and your shoulders? But now pause for a second. Keeping your head stable, use your hand on your chin to move your jaw a little to the right. Again, this is a very small movement. Just feel what that's like in those jaw hinges. Good. And then combine those two. Again, a very, very small movement, taking your head to the left, your jaw to the right. What happens in your neck, your shoulder, your jaw? But what happens in your back? Good. Let that go and switch hands. Put your left hand on your forehead, right hand on your jaw. And again, your jaw is easily open. Move your head to the right. Your jaw stays in place. Just what is that like on this side? And then stabilize your head, your forehead, and use your right hand to take your jaw a little to the left. Again, tiny movement. What do you feel in your neck, throat? Yes, in your jaw hinges. Good. Good. And now combine those two, using your hand on your forehead to take your head to the right, your hand on your jaw, taking your jaw a little to the left. It's really a does not compute kind of movement. What happens in your back, your neck, your shoulders, your eyes? Good. And let that go. Please rest. Lie on your back. Just sense your contact with the floor. And now, once or twice, let's do that movement while you lie on your back. So bring your right hand up to your forehead, your left hand is on your jaw. And in this position, take your head and your jaw in opposite directions. So your head goes left, jaw goes right. How does that feel in this relation to gravity? Just once or twice. And then shift your hand so your left hand is on your forehead, right hand on your jaw, and try the opposite movement, or the opposing movement in this position. How does that feel in your back and your neck as you're lying down? Good. Now let that go. Pause for a moment. And the last variation in this lesson, please bend your knees and stand your feet. And you're going to bring your arms up toward the ceiling in a kind of relaxed way, as though you're holding a gigantic beach ball, you know, one of those big white, yellow, red plastic things, very lightweight, right? Your arms in a kind of a circle. And now your jaw is easily open. So you're going to combine all these things. Let me describe it first. You're going to take your jaw to the right, tilt your knees to the right, and feel as though you're reaching with your left arm to take your beach ball over to the right. Do that a couple of times. Just do that and come back to neutral. Good. Pause a minute. Now take your beach ball to the left, your jaw to the left, your knees to the left. Once you've got that, then alternate. Just taking that beach ball over to the right. As you go to the right, you're sort of reaching with your left arm and shoulder. Your jaw goes to the right, your knees go to the right, and then you come back and do the same thing on the other side. And just enjoy that. So your knees are going in the same direction as your arms. That's great. And please let that go and rest. Just letting yourself absorb all of the sensations that have accumulated through the course of the lesson. Sensing your contact with the floor. Sensing the movement of your breathing. Where do you sense the breath as the breath comes in? What's your sensation of your throat, your chest, as the air comes in and goes out? Sensing the contact of your head with the floor. Sensing your face, your jaw, your chewing muscles, your tongue, your throat. Sensing your shoulder girdle and how that part of you lies now. Your arms, how they lie. Sensing your lower back and the curve in your lower back. Sensing your pelvis, the weight of the pelvis, the width of the pelvis. Sensing your legs, Just sense the contact of the whole back side of yourself, the parts that are touching the floor. Just sense that feeling of contact. And one last time, please bring your attention to the breath and the movement of the breath as the air comes in, that slight expansion, and as the air goes out, that slight release. And keeping that sensation of the breath in your awareness, please slowly bend your knees and roll to one side. And slowly, in your own time, come to sit, taking all the time you need, and then come to standing. Just notice your sensations as you take some steps around your space and enjoy the feeling of having done this lesson.